Hi yogis, and welcome to Radiant Heart Yoga. I'm Jane, and to this practice which is called Pigeon Pilgrimage. So it's a hip opening practice, very grounding, and it's around a pose called Half Pigeon or Ardha Kapotasana. And we'll be adding in some twists, some back bends, some stretches for the fronts of the legs as well as the outer hips and the inner hips. So quite an all-round practice, but focusing on that particular pose so that we can really dive deeply into some more hip opening. So we're going to begin just taking a few moments in this seated position, so any comfortable seated position. When we start to practice, I would recommend that if your hips are on the tight side, that you have a folded blanket and a couple of bricks, or modify, be a little bit imaginative, with the bricks, and see if you can find anything that you can use in place of those. So I'm taking your spine nice and long, really grounding down through the sit bones, anchoring the tailbone down and allowing the shoulders to soften, the shoulders to stack themselves naturally over the hips, and just feel that elongation through the spine all the way to the crown of the head. Feeling grounded, but at the same time there's a lightness, a buoyancy to that sensation. You're tapping into that opposite and equal exchange of energies, one moving down and the other moving up. Then begin to focus more on your breath, and as you breathe in, visualize that you're pulling the breath down from the top of your lungs all the way into your seat, rooting and grounding down. And then as you exhale, still rooting and grounding down, but allowing that energy now to pull the crown of your head upwards. And just let, for the next couple of breaths, just let your breath naturally begin to lengthen and begin to deepen. And then from here, you're just going to move all of your props to the side for a moment and come and lie down on your back. And you'll find through the practice that it's very windy here today, so this tapestry behind is going to be blowing a little bit, but I'll be turning around on my mat so that I've got plenty of room to demonstrate the movements, but you can just choose which way you're going to face, and you can just stay facing that way all the way through. So from here, I'm going to just first of all take my legs up in the air, ground down through the whole of the spine, and just do some circles with the ankles. And point and flex the feet a few times. And then hug the knees into your chest and just have a little rock side to side. So a little gentle massage for the lower back and the kidneys before we get going. And then from here, I'm going to let this left foot come down and come onto the outside edge of this left foot so the leg can drop out to the side. And then I'm going to take a half happy baby. So you can hold anywhere on your leg, but just creating, as long as you can create this shape, this almost like a 90-degree shape. And then just keep gently drawing that right foot down towards the floor and this right knee down towards the floor on the outside of your torso. And then you can stay here, or I always like to add a little bit of movement in. I'm just going to open that leg out as I inhale. And then as I inhale, I'm going to bring it across my body and just gently pull it in. So this is like the shape of the front leg in Pigeon Pose. So inhale, opening it out, and exhale, drawing it in. Inhale, open out. Exhale, draw it in. Just one more like that. Inhale, open it out. And exhale, drawing it in. And then from here, I'm going to set this right ankle up on top of the left thigh. So this is, again, this same shape, what I like to call it a pigeon leg. And then just waking up the core and igniting that inner fire a little bit. Taking your hands and placing them behind the back of your head. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, push your lower back into the floor by squeezing your rib cage towards your pelvis and drawing your navel down towards the floor. So another breath in, and then as you exhale, you're just going to lift your hips up. And then inhale, don't come all the way down to the floor, and as you exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, forwards to the right. Exhale as you come up. Just a few more. Two more. Slowly lower your head and shoulders down, relax your arms, and you're going to drop this right foot over to the right, reach down with your left hand for your right foot, and then arc your right arm alongside your ear. So I'm curving my torso towards this, bringing my left shoulder towards my left hand to give myself a really nice stretch into the obliques and the side of my waist where I've been doing that core work. And then slowly come back and keep this figure four shape, this pigeon leg. Practice really flexing the right foot, and then you can stay with that left foot on the floor, or you can pick that left foot up off the floor and hold either the back of this left thigh or the front of your shin, and then just have a few little rocks side to side. And then pause, and each time you exhale, think about drawing your legs a little bit closer, and then inhale, gentle release. Exhale, drawing them in, and a gentle release. One more time, drawing in, and a gentle release. And then this time, just keep drawing those knees in for a couple of breaths. And you can stay here. I'm just going to move a little bit over to the side. You can stay here, or you can just make a little shelf with this left elbow and just lean into that left elbow, and that will increase. So I'm looking to the left, and I'm letting this right foot stay flexed, and I'm pushing my right knee out to the right, and this is going to give you a stronger stretch into the outer hip on this right side. And then slowly come back, and then from here I'm going to cross my right leg over the left, shift my hips to the left a little bit, bring my left arm out to the left, and keep this left shoulder pinned down onto the floor. And then slowly, keeping my leg supported with my right hand, I'm going to slowly, and you can double wrap your legs or keep the single wrap, start to drop the legs over to the right so that you get a really nice stretch through that left side. So I'm keeping my left shoulder on the floor. And then inhale, come all the way back up. And I'm going to switch legs and repeat that on the other side. But I'm going to switch sides. I just want you to stay as you are. Just tuck your knees into your chest again. Go back to the beginning, little rock. And then let your right foot lower down. Come onto the outside edge of that foot and let the knee drop out to the side. And then hold somewhere on this left leg that allows you to create this 90-degree shape so that the sole of your foot is facing up towards the ceiling. Take a moment there. And then just adding in that movement if you did on the other side. So just inhaling, stretching that leg out to the left, straightening it. And then exhale, pulling that knee in towards my chest. Well, not the knee, the shin. Inhale, opening up, and exhale, coming in. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, pulling it in. One more time. And then right foot on the floor, fully on the floor. Left ankle crosses over the right now, really flexing that left foot. Hands out behind the back of your skull. Inhale. And as you exhale, lift. Little crunches. Inhale, sliding lower down. Exhale, twisting to the left. So exhaling as you come up. Pressing your lower back into the floor, squeezing your ribs towards your navel. Just one more. And release your head and shoulders down. And you're going to drop this left foot to the floor. Holding on to that foot with the right hand if you can reach it, and then just scooting your shoulders around and reaching your left arm alongside your ear and giving those ribs, side of your waist, your obliques, a little bit of a stretch out, pressing that left knee away from you. And then come back to centre. And from here, either keep your legs here, or if you can, pick up this right foot and hold either behind your thigh or the front of your shin again. Have a little rock side to side. And then from here, inhale, and as you exhale, maybe pull your legs a little bit closer. Inhale, gentle release. Exhale, pulling in, inhale, and exhale. One more, inhale, and exhale. And then keep holding and keep drawing your knees in, keep flexing that left foot. And maybe if you did on the other side, you can just drop across, making a little shelf with this right elbow, leaning into that elbow and dropping your legs over to the right so that you can press this left knee out to the left and away from you and get a deeper stretch into that outer left hip. And then slowly come back, and now you're going to shift your hips across to the right a little bit, single or double wrap with your legs. Rest this right shoulder on the floor and then support your legs with this left hand, and so that you can control the descent. I'm getting a really big, oh, you can hear that in my voice, stretch into this right side. And then release and come back. From here, you're going to come into full happy baby. So holding on somewhere on each leg, creating that 90-degree angle, and just gently drawing your knees down towards the outsides of your torso. And then from here, hug your knees in again, and you're going to rock your way up to a seat. And then from here, I'm going to tuck this right foot underneath so that I'm creating, again, this hip opening in this right side. And then I'm going to cross my left foot over to the outside of my right leg. And then from here, I'm going to turn over this to the left over this right foot. So it may be that you're not able to turn and fold, in which case you can just stay higher up, as long as you're feeling the twist and you're getting a little bit of an opening into your spine. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to thread this right arm through and see if I can hold this right foot, take my left hand onto my left knee, push into that knee and tip my right shoulder towards this left foot, so that I'm getting a really nice stretch into the left side of my lower back. And then I'm going to come up a little bit higher, tuck this foot in, and then I'm going to bring this left knee up so that it comes towards my right shoulder, hook my right hand underneath, take a yin and yang bind, and then I'm going to pull with this left elbow and come into a twist. Seeing if I can keep my left foot and my right knee anchored down into the floor as a twist. Maybe even look up a little bit. And then from here, I'm going to lift this left arm up, and now I'm going to turn over to the right. And again, dropping down, maybe even lowering my forearms down into the mat. So you can come onto the outside edge of this left foot. And then from here, I'm going to stay with this right forearm, or it can be your right hand, on the mat, and then I'm going to get hold of my left foot and pull it back into a little flying pigeon. So I'm going to flex that left foot, and I'm going to use my hamstrings to pull that left leg back and stretch out the front of this left leg. This is going to be my back leg in my pigeon pose, so it's going to need to be open at the front. And then from here, I'm going to keep bringing that left leg around, and I'm going to bring this right leg so that my shin is parallel with the front edge of the mat, and then I'm going to lean my right shoulder into this right leg and just clasp my hands and just drop my head down towards the floor. So this is a very soft back leg. Just opening up into this front leg a little bit deeper. And then from here, you've got a choice. You can either keep this back leg soft, but pull that front leg in so that you're in like a deer pose with your legs, but your chest is facing the front of your mat. Or you can come into your first pigeon pose. So you can come into your first pigeon pose. So I'm going to tuck my back foot underneath, the toes underneath, and you can prop. So if your right hip doesn't come to the floor, you can use your blanket or maybe even a brick to prop up this right hip so that your hips are level. And then I'm just going to rock forwards and back, and as I come back, I'm going to pull with this left heel and see if I can get this right hip to drop a little bit closer to the floor. And then just take a few breaths here. Once I've got to my maximum range of movement, and then untuck those back toes, drop that left thigh towards the floor, and then just a few little circles. So I'm coming up one way and back down the other way. One more. And then from here, I'm going to lean into this right hip. I'm going to sweep this left leg all the way around so that I'm in a Gomukhasana position. If this is not going to work for you, not going to be able to keep both of your hips on the floor, straighten this right leg and come into a half Gomukhasana. And then hands are going to be on my feet or on the floor, and I'm going to inhale, draw my chest forwards and slide my sit bones back. Exhale, rounding in, tucking my chin in. So a little cat and cow here, just to open up the lower back to help me to open up the hips. Just one more. And exhale. And then coming up and inhale, reaching my arms up, and exhaling, holding onto my right elbow with my left hand and bringing this right hand down to the middle of my back. So you can stay here, or you can reach this left hand around, and some of you may be able to wriggle that left hand up the middle of your back and get a hold of your left fingertips. And then from here, take a big breath in, and maybe as you exhale, just folding forwards a little bit, increasing the stretch into the outside of your hips. So if that's too much, remember you can come back to here and just keep folding forwards. And then inhale, come up, and you can just switch sides, or you can bring your hands around to the right and come all the way around. So now I'm going to end up on the other side and begin again on this side. So from here, I'm going to come around to this side first, to my right side. And so I've just got the little toe mound of my foot on the floor so that I can come into a nice forward fold on this side over this left foot. But you might be higher up, you might just be turning around to face the right. And then from here, I'm going to inhale, come up, and I'm going to thread this left hand through for my left foot. and use my right hand on this right knee and push with my hand, but then I'm going to drop this left shoulder down towards the right foot, but keep this right hip anchored down onto the floor. So it's a nice opener for this right side of the lower back. And then I'm going to inhale, come up, and now I'm going to bring my right foot to the floor if possible. And again, you can straighten this left leg and do it with your left leg straight. You're just not going to get this same amount of hip opening here. And then I'm going to hook my left hand around, find my yin and yang bind, draw this right knee towards the left shoulder and twist from here. Take one more breath, maybe even look up a little bit. And then reach the right arm up, big breath in, and as you exhale, turn to the left. So I want my right foot to be on the floor now. My right hip can come up away from the floor, and you can stay up on your hands or lowering down onto your forearms. So I'm pushing this right foot into the floor, maybe even come onto the outside edge of that right foot. Press your right knee across to the right. So this is going to increase the stretch into your hip, into your outer hip. And then from here, I'm going to stay either on this left forearm or you can be on your hand. And I'm going to pick up this right foot and I'm going to sweep that leg back behind me. So I start to feel my chest spreading open. And then flexing the right foot. Now I'm going to use the hamstrings and I'm going to pull that right foot back until I feel a stretch through the front of that right thigh. And then from here, I'm going to keep bringing that right foot around. And then I'm going to have a gentle, quite a generous bend in this right leg, leaning into my left hip. And I'm going to bring my left shin parallel with the front edge of the mat. And then I'm going to take my left shoulder and nestle it into my left leg. Join my palms, drop my head down. So I'm just relaxing the left side of my head down. And feeling this opening here into the left leg and hip. And then coming up, and I'm going to pull this heel in closer, and you can stay here, bending this knee and take this pose here, or you can come into pigeon pose on this left side. So I'm going to be up on my fingertips, I'm flexing my left foot, and I'm flexing, I've got my right toe, curled under, and I'm just going to rock forwards and back. And as I pull back, I'm pulling back with this right heel to bring this left hip closer to the floor. And I'm stretching into the front of that right thigh as I go. And then once I've reached my maximum position, I'm going to come into pigeon pose. So if you need to slide something underneath this hip, this is what you do. Just slide something underneath that hip so it props you up and your hips are equal across the back, even across the back. Okay. And then I'm going to do some little circles again. So around to one side and back up, going the other way, back up. And back up. And then from here, I'm going to lean into this left hip and I'm going to bring this right foot all the way around so you can straighten your left leg at this point. And then from here, hands onto your feet or the floor, and inhale a few little cat and cows through your spine. Exhale, rounding in. And exhale. 2 more. And exhale. And then inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale. You're going to hold your left elbow with your right hand and just sneak that left hand down the middle of your back. So if you want to bring your right hand around, I can't do that on this side, but you're going to reach around for these left fingertips with your right fingertips, and nestle your head back into your arms. And then inhale here, and you can stay, or for a deeper stretch in the hips, just starting to fold forwards a little bit, but keep drawing your heart forwards. Keep this left elbow lifted as you fold in. And then inhale, come all the way up and release. And from here, I'm going to lean back, and I'm going to bring my right ankle back onto this left thigh again. And then I'm going to step this left foot in. I'm going to walk in with my hands, maybe even bring my hips a little bit closer to this heel. Keep flexing that right foot and bring my chest as close to this right shin as I can. Get a really deep stretch. And then walk my hips back and stretch this left leg out. Inhale, reach the arms up, and then you can stay upright, or you can exhale, folding forwards towards that left foot and just snuggling in, but keep flexing this right foot and keep pushing this right knee out to the right, engaging your glutes a little bit in this right side. And then inhale, come up, and exhale, bring this left foot back. And then from here, I'm just going to drop my legs from side to side. Bring the curtain with me. And then I'm going to drop my legs over to the left, look across to the right, over that right shoulder. And then from here, I'm going to lift my right arm up, and I'm going to turn. So don't worry, we're turning to the back of the mat, but we will be coming back to the front in a couple of movements. So you're going to roll all the way around and come into downward dog. So it should be quite an easy transition. And then once you get into your downward facing dog, and if downward facing dog is too much in your wrists, you can be on all fours. And really wrapping your triceps under and rolling your biceps forwards, hugging your arms in towards each other, pushing with your hands and lifting your hips as high as you can. And then you can have as much of a bend in your knees as you need to, and then just pedal your legs out a couple of times. And then you're going to lift both heels, really lift your sit bones up. And then as you inhale, think about cat and cow. So I'm going to draw my chest back towards my legs and look between my hands as I inhale. And then as I exhale, I'm going to round my spine and draw my chin in towards my chest. Keep your heels lifted, and then you're going to get more movement through your spine. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And then slowly you're going to start to drop your heels back towards the floor, and you're going to walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. So your feet are hip width apart, and then you're going to walk your hands around to the right, and you're going to swivel with your feet So you end up back facing the front of your mat. Bring your ankles across, bring your little toes towards one another. Get your legs as straight as you can. And then from here, you're going to inhale, lift your chest, and exhale, fold in as much as you can over your legs. Have your hands nice and wide. That helps you to fold a little bit deeper. One more, inhale. And exhale. And then from here, you're going to inhale, come all the way up, reaching your arms up. And as you come up, bring this right knee with you. Hug your thigh in towards your chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to bend this left knee and cross your right thigh over your left for an eagle, Garudasana. So your right leg is over, so your right arm is under. And you can just have your hands at your heart if that suits you better. Squatting down as deeply as you can. And you can stay here, or you can pick your foot up, or even wrap it around the other calf. And then imagine that you're trying to get your back against a wall, even as you bend your knees. And you can stay here, or maybe crouching down over your legs, bringing your elbows towards your knees, squeezing your inner thighs into one another. And then from here, you're going to come up, reach this right knee up again, and you can bring your foot down at any point, and then cross your right ankle back over this left thigh, and come down into an awkward chair pose with your pigeon leg again. And then bring your feet together and inhale into Utkatasana chair pose. Exhale here, weight towards your heels, drawing your tailbone down towards the floor, fingertips up. And then from here, you're going to lift your heels and slowly start to come down, bringing your knees forwards and your fingertips forwards. And then from here, slowly, you can use your hands, come down and pick up your legs into a boat pose. And you can straighten your legs. And then you can stay here for a moment, or you can roll back into a plow pose. So you're going to roll back and bring your feet to the floor. And then from here, rock back up. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. So from here, I'm going to bring my left ankle on top of my right thigh. And then I'm going to walk this right heel in, walk my hands in, maybe walk my hips in, keep flexing the left foot and pulling that left knee out towards the side, and then coming as close to that shin as possible. And then release the hips back, stretch the right leg straight, inner reach your arms up, and you can stay here or exhale, folding towards that right foot. Inhale, just lengthening your heart forwards, and exhale, releasing in. And then inhale, come up, and again bending this right knee, and then just dropping your knees from side to side a couple of times, and then dropping your knees over to the right, looking over your left shoulder, straightening your arms if you can, And then you're going to pick up this left arm and you're going to sweep yourself around and come into downward facing dog towards the back of your mat again. And just pedal out your legs. And then this time, you're going to lift your heels up. And as you inhale, you're going to roll forwards into a high plank. So you can do this with your knees down and just do cat and cow. And then exhale, little bend in your knees, lift your hips high, looking between your thumbs. And then inhale, rolling forwards again. So we're going to do this 3 times. Exhale, pull back into your downward dog. Last time, inhale, ripple forwards. And exhale back. And then from here, just keep walking your hands back to your feet. And then all the way around to the left this time. As you swivel back to face the front of your mat, line up your little toes as best you can, and then inhale, lift your chest up, and exhale, folding in. Rocking the weight more towards the front of your feet, fingertips nice and wide so you can draw yourself in. One more time, inhale, lengthen your chest forwards, exhale, folding in. And then inhale, come all the way up to stand, and as you come up, you're going to pick up that left leg. And then you're going to wrap your left leg over your right into your eagle pose. And your left leg is over, so your left arm is going to go under. Staying high, or you can pick up this left foot and wrap your left leg around your right into your eagle, your full eagle. Maybe coming into crouching eagle. And then inhale, woo, come up, picking up that left leg as you go, a little bit of a wobble, and then crossing this left ankle over your right, hands to prayer. You're going to come down into your awkward chair pose on this side, bending this right knee, keep that left foot flexed, and then release your left foot next to your right. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sit down a little bit deeper into your chair pose. And then inhale, pick up your heels. And exhale, keeping your heels lifted, pulling your knees forwards as you go. Bringing your arms parallel to the floor, legs parallel to the floor. And then from here, start to reach your arms forwards, shift your hips back towards the floor, and then release. Come into your boat pose, knees bent or straight, and then stay or rock back to your plow pose, and rock back up. And then from here, you're going to tuck your feet under and come into downward facing dog. Have a little rest. So it could be a child's pose. So this is where you might need your breaks for this next part of the practice. But you're going to lean equal weight into your hands and then take the weight into your left foot. And inhale, reach your right leg up. So use the glutes on this right leg to squeeze and lift that leg high. So you can be on all fours to do this if you need to. And then exhale, bring your knee in towards your nose. Inhale, reach that right leg up and back. And then as you exhale, lift your left heel high. bring your right ankle and cross it over your left thigh. Bend your left knee and really sink your chest back towards your thigh. And then you're going to bend and keep bending that left knee. Let your right toes tuck underneath as you come into an all fours position with your pigeon leg. And then from here, you're going to inhale, so exhale round your spine. So a few cat and cows here. And then maybe even circling the torso. And then you're going to come into your second round of pigeon pose. So you're going to bring your right knee towards your right wrist and slide this left foot back. So again, you can bend that back knee and sit on the hip if you need to modify. Slide something underneath that right hip if you need to. And then just a couple of rocks and really pulling back through that left heel. And then from here, widen your fingertips. Inhale, lift your chest, and exhale. Take your chest forwards and down. And then as you inhale, it's a little bit like cat and cow. Tuck your chin, rounding up. Exhale. Forwards and down. One more inhale, come up. And then you can stay with your fingertips on the floor, or you can walk your fingertips a little bit further back so you get a little bit more of a back bend going on here. And keep this right foot flexed. And then from here, you're going to lift this left knee up off the floor. So this is where you may stop. Or as you inhale, lift your hips. And exhale, lower down. And it might be that you can start to take less weight into your hands. And inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower, maybe not even have any hands. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lowering back down. And then from here, you're going to come into downward facing dog, lifting this right leg up. And then bend your knee at the top and release the hip. So you're going to inhale here. And then exhale as if you were going to come into pigeon pose, but you're not. Inhale, roll your hip open, up and back. Exhale, as if you're going to come into pigeon pose. Inhale, roll it open, and exhale. This time, bring your knee in toward your nose, and you're going to swivel onto the sole of your left foot and cross your right ankle back over your left thigh. And then from here, come onto your left fingertips and start to bend this left knee and drop your right hip towards the floor. Maybe even bring your left elbow into your right knee. And then from here, lift this left arm up and see if you can lift your hips up. Maybe straighten that left leg. And then bring your left fingertips down again. And you're going to bring yourself back into pigeon pose again. So in your pigeon pose, this time you're just going to fold a little bit deeper into your pigeon and just give your right arm a little bit of a break. So keep squaring off your hips, hugging that right hip back and your left hip forwards. Take one more breath, and it may be that you stay. And you might not be folding forward, you might still be, or you might be using, this is another option, using your bricks to support yourself here if you're not ready to get all the way down to the floor. And then you can stay there, or you can thread your left arm underneath. So your left fingertips come to the floor. Inhale here, and then exhale, just play with dropping this left shoulder down towards the floor. So gradually easing your way in. So it may not happen this time. Maybe on one of the other times you do this practice. And if you can get your left shoulder to the floor, you're going to stay there. Or maybe reach this right arm up and reach around for the left side of your waist and bring it more into a twist. So I'm trying to keep this right shoulder open, but I'm trying to keep my right hip on the floor. So it's a big, big opening into that right hip. It deepens the opening there. And then pressing yourself back up. And it may be that you stay in this shape and just take another few breaths here. Or if you want to come a little bit deeper, I'm going to bend that left knee, flex my foot, and then use the hamstrings, pull that foot in and reach back with my right hand for this right foot. Sorry, left foot, left hand, left foot. Sorry. And then I'm just going to keep this right hip down, turn back to face the front. I'm kind of pointing my foot, but then curling my toes over my hand and just pulling that in a little bit, just to get a deeper stretch into this left thigh. Maybe even drawing my chest down, back down towards the floor. And then slowly release. And I'm going to sit into this right hip and sweep my left leg around and bring my right leg in. So you can bring your foot into the cradle it into the hook of your elbow, or you can just be holding on like you did at the beginning to that leg. So whichever place you're going for. So if this isn't possible, you're just going to stay rocking, just drawing that leg closer to you. Or I'm going to move a little bit to this side. This is where you might need your bricks to put underneath your hands. Or from here, I'm going to hold this right foot with both hands, straighten the leg as I inhale, and then as I exhale, I'm going to pull that leg back. Inhale and exhale. Pull it back. Inhale and exhale. And then maybe I'm going to put my right hand underneath that leg and hook it over my shoulder. And then this is where you need to use the bricks, or you can do it without the bricks. I'm going to lean forwards and I'm going to pull this foot down so it clamps over my arm. And then from here, I'm going to start to push into the bricks and lift my hips up, and maybe that left leg, and slowly lowering down. And now I'm going to bend this left knee and come into double pigeon, Agni Stambhasana. So I just turn around a little bit. So my shins are stacked. It's not half lotus. I'm not trying to bring this foot up into the hip crease. My shins are stacked. And if this doesn't suit you, then come into a cross-legged position. And you can come into it in stages, so you can have something supporting this right knee at first, and then I like to do again a few cat and cows just to get my hips. So as you draw your hips back, this top leg automatically drops closer. And then maybe you can fold forwards, maybe you use a brick to prop your elbows up. And flexing both feet, really important to protect the knees. And this is a huge hip opener, so don't beat yourself up if you're not ready for this yet. This is something that took me years to get into, and it still isn't. It's a very, very intense stretch for me still. And then coming back up, we're just going to release the front of the hips. Just going to cross your ankles, or any way that you can get back to either all fours or to plank pose. And really push your sit bones back and then round into your upper back. Take a big breath in and then exhale, hover your knees. Inhale, round and push the floor away, and then exhale, lower your knees to the floor and all the way down to the floor. And then from here, take your feet wide, bend your right knee, rock to the left a little bit, and see if you can catch your right foot with your left hand. And you can stay here, stretching into the front of this right hip, or you can bend your left knee and reach back with your right hand for your left foot, so your ankles are crossed. And then from here, inhale, lift. So it's a little baby bow pose. Just maybe lifting your feet, but you're just looking for that stretch in the front of your hips. And then slowly release and press yourself up and back into your downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs. And then from here, you're going to inhale, lift your left leg high, squeeze your glutes, and then exhale, draw this left knee in towards your nose. Inhale, reach that left leg up and back, and then exhale, pick up your right heel, bring your left ankle over your right thigh, bend that knee. Press your chest back. Keep that right heel as lifted as you can. And then keep lowering that right knee down. Tuck your left toes under. Bring your left knee to the floor. And then inhale, cat and cow. So as we work through these different variations of half pigeon, you can just stay in a simple half pigeon and just work there. You know, only move to a different version when you're ready. And then from here, I'm going to come back, bringing my left knee towards my left wrist now, and coming back into another pigeon pose. And again, drop forwards and back a few times. Just bringing that left hip a little bit closer to the floor each time. And then fingertips go a little bit wider again. Inhale. Lowering down as you exhale, reaching your heart forwards, and then tuck your chin in. Inhale, rounding up, and exhale, reaching forwards and down. Now floating back up, last one. Exhale, forwards and down. And then coming up, keeping these right toes tucked under and lifting that right knee. So you can stay here. That's going to work your psoas and your right leg a lot anyway. Or you can inhale, lift your hips, and exhale, lower down. So you can stay like that for the other two, or maybe take less weight into your fingers. So really work those hips. Maybe no hands at all. Lift, 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 and lower down. And then from here, bring your hands back down. You're going to come back into your down dog with your left leg lifted and open your hip up. So big breath in, open up your hip, and then exhale as if you're going to do pigeon, but you're not. And then inhale back up, and exhale. One more, inhale up, and exhale. And then this time you're going to inhale, reach your leg up, and exhale, bring your knee in towards your nose. You're going to swivel onto the sole of your right foot and cross your left ankle over your right thigh, and then start to bend that right knee and lower this left hip towards the floor. Push your right elbow into your left thigh, and then see if you can lift your hips back up and maybe start to straighten this right leg, pointing your left knee down towards the floor, and then bring your right hand back towards the floor, onto the floor, and into your last pigeon pose. So from here, find that pigeon, and this time you're going to fold into it. So prop your elbows up on bricks if you need to, untuck your back toes, give this left arm a rest, and come all the way down. So you can stay in a more passive version of pigeon, just working your way in. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, lifting halfway, threading this right hand through. And then each time you exhale, just dropping that right shoulder towards the floor, but keeping your left hip anchored down. So you're just playing with, can you keep that left hip anchored down? And you're going to have one side that's tighter. This side is definitely my tighter side. So there's so much internal work going on to keep this left hip grounded down. Maybe reach the left arm up and around for your right waist, and then roll the shoulder open as you keep the hip closed down towards the mat. And then release and press back up. And you can stay in your pigeon shape here, or you can start to flex the right foot, bending the knee, reaching back for the foot, and then turning back to face the front, flexing the toes and pulling that foot in towards the sit bone. Maybe lowering forward back down, trying to ground that left hip into the floor. And then slowly release, let go of that foot, And then from here, bring this right leg around. Straighten the right leg. Reach for your bricks if you use them on the other side. And then cradling this left shin in towards your chest. So you may be here, working there, or you may be able to hook that foot into the crook of your elbow. So some of you are going to stay here. If you had to play on the other side, maybe you're going to hold on to that foot. Inhale, straighten the leg, and then exhale, pull it back. Inhale, straighten, exhale, pull. So you can completely skip this bit. And release. Maybe you can take this left leg and hook it over this left arm or shoulder, and then find your brick, and you're going to come up. So you're pulling this left leg down so that I can keep it anchored onto my arm, and then maybe lift the hips up, maybe lift the right leg and release. Well done if you had to go at that. And then from here, you're going to come into double pigeon. So right leg bends, left leg. So your shins are parallel with the front edge of your mat. Using props under your knees or coming into a cross-legged position. Just switching your legs, so whichever ankle was in front before last time, then just switching sides. And then from here, inhale, just a few little cat and cows, just to open up the lower back, flexing those feet, and then either staying upright or maybe folding forwards. Taking a few breaths here. So this pose is called Agni Stambhasana, and Agni means fire in the Sanskrit language of yoga, and Stambhasana means log. So it's fire log pose, and if this is kind of a very intense pose for you as it is for me, it does literally feel as though your legs are on fire. And then inhale, come up any way that you get back, but you're going to tuck your legs underneath, come to all fours, or let's come to one last downward facing dog, just pedaling out the legs. And we're going to stretch out the front of the hips now. So inhale, rippling forwards to high plank. Exhale, bend your knees, hover. Inhale, push the floor away, round your spine. Exhale, lower your knees down to the floor, and then all the way down onto your belly. And then from here, take your legs wide. Bend your left leg and reach back for your left foot with your right hand. And then you can stay here, reaching your left hand forwards, stretching the front of that left thigh, or if you want to go deeper, flexing your right foot, reaching back for your right foot with your left hand. And then you've got hold of both feet. You can stay here, or inhale, lift your chest by pushing your feet back into your hands. Maybe lift your feet a little bit, really stretching into the front of the hip, and then slowly lowering down, releasing your feet, making a pillow for your head with your hands, and have a little rock through your hips. And then from here, you're going to draw your right knee up, finish with a twist, thread your left arm underneath, and then start to roll to the right. Just shift your hips and get your right shoulder onto the floor. And then once this right shoulder is down on the floor, flex your left foot. And so it's as if you're stood on this left leg. So that left leg's nice and active. And then from here, just gently encourage that right knee towards the floor, but keep this right shoulder on the floor. Just take a couple of breaths in the twist. And then roll back onto your belly. Make a pillow for your head again, little sway through the hips. And then carry this left knee up, thread your right arm through, start to roll to the left, shifting your hips as you go. So you want to be in a straight line with your torso, and then bring your left shoulder to the floor. Flex your right foot, keep this left shoulder down on the floor, and then just use this right hand and gently encourage the twist. So you're encouraging this left knee to come towards the floor. Take a few really deep breaths here. And then slowly release, and this time come onto your back. And then last time, hug your knees into your chest. Maybe a few little circles. Make sure that your lower back is soft. You're not carrying any tension there. And then you're going to come into Shavasana. So if there's any sensation in your lower back that's uncomfortable, keep your knees bent and your knees knocking together until your lower back completely releases. If your lower back is fine, stretching your legs out, letting your feet fall out to the sides, shoulders are relaxed. Let the energy begin to level out again. And then bringing your left hand to your belly and visualizing that in your right hand you're holding gently a luminous green lotus flower. And as you breathe in, that lotus flower glows a little brighter. And as you exhale, the light softly fades back into the center of the lotus flower. Taking a few rounds of breath. And then you're going to carry that lotus flower and drop it into the space of your heart. Bringing your right hand over your heart, and then feel that light begin to expand. That luminous green light expanding into every cell, every nook and cranny of your body. The whole body glowing, being nourished and nurtured by your practice. Slowly allowing that light to fade back into the space of your heart, and taking as long as you need in Shavasana